Motion of the Committee on Appointment and the Public Service. Proposer, Honorable Matthew S. Luma. Seconder, Honorable Bashir Simichu.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, fifth session of the fifth Parliament of the Second Republic of Sierra Leone. The eighth report of the Committee on Appointment and the Public Service on parliamentary vetting of presidential nominations. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the Committee on Appointment and Public Service, in tandem with its constitutional obligations, met on Thursday, 12 January 2023, and interviewed 4 presidential nominees for the positions of Minister, Ministry of Finance, Deputy Director, Sierra Leone Roads Authority SLRA, Member, Board of Directors of Sierra Leone Roads Maintenance Fund Administration, RMFA, and a member of the Independent Peace Commission, IPC. The committee maintained, as usual, strict consistency with its usual established procedure and interviewed the nominees on issues pertaining to their educational background to ensure that they have the relevant education and necessary backup experience to hold such offices of state. Several probing questions, including queries from the public, put to nominees covered wide-ranging issues relating to their track records in pertinent work situations, declare asset, tax obligation, and their vision for a nationally productive tenure. Issues of constitutability or otherwise were strictly looked into by the committee. 8th sitting of the committee on Thursday, 12 January 2023. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, based on the aforesaid, the committee interviewed the following nominees as listed below. Engineer Alfred Jalil Momodu. Engineer Alfred Jalil Momodu, take your seat. Proposed Deputy Director General, Sierra Leone Roads Authority SLRA. Engineer Alfred, take note of the correction, please. Engineer Alfred Jalil Momodu is a seasoned civil engineer with adept knowledge in road management. From January 2020 to date, Engineer Momodu served as the Director, Operations Management Department, SLRE. His key responsibilities included determining the resources needs to terms of internal equipment and labor required to undertake the short, medium, and long-term trunk and township road development. Responding to committee on what you will bring to this SLRA, Engineer Alfred says, his spanning years of technical and administrative acumen in roads project execution will help him support the director to prioritize and plan projects related to road maintenance funds and donor support. He concluded on the resounding note, thus quoting him, much investment has been made on our roads and bridges, but must still remain, especially the feeder roads linking the agriculturally viable areas. With collective hands on deck, government agenda, take note of the correction, government's agenda on roads accessibly will be vigorously pursued. He concluded on the emphatic note that timely budgetary provisions was necessary for effective road project implementation and expressed hope that this challenge will be improved in the immediate future. Engineer Jacob Lahai, Daluwo. Take your time, mind your steps. Engineer Jacob Lahai, proposed member, Board of Directors, Road Maintenance Fund Administration. RMFA. Engineer Jacob Taluwo is a mechanical engineer with expert knowledge in petroleum and natural gas management. He served as road consultant and sales engineer for safety, facility management, fleet management, construction, installation, commissioning and serving equipment in reputable oil companies at both home and abroad. He holds an advanced degree in petroleum and natural resources management from Amity University, Delhi, India. Answering on how he will ensure that RMFA collaborates with the SRA in meeting the latter's fund demands for roads work, the nominee said, quoting him, "The Act established," take note of the correction, "the Act established the collaboration of the bodies concerned with roads, SRA, RMFA, and the SRSA. And therefore, what is required is imminent and patriotism. I will imbibe the spirit of working together with other boards to address daily emerging issues that will make RMFA achieve its objectives." End of quote. He promised the committee that his long-standing experience as an engineer representing Sierra Leone Institute of Engineers will guide the RMFA board in the monitoring and funding periodization of projects. Mr. Sheku Ahmed Fantamadi Bangura. Thank you. Well, Mr. Speaker, couple of business are all my business. Another round of applause for me. One more for the MPs. You understand. You can do it 10 times if you like. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Sheku Ahmed Fantamadi Bangura, proposed Ministry of Finance. Mr. Bangura is a public financial management expert with over a decade experience of financial instruments, operational policies, and procedures dealing with both local and international financial bodies. He possesses expert professional advisory knowledge on financial oversight relating multilateral financial executive boards, such as World Bank Group of Boards for International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, IBRD, International Development Association, IDA, Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency, MIGA, etc., etc. From 2019 to date, he has served as Deputy Minister of Finance of the Government of Sierra Leone. He holds a double master's degree in public policy with specialty, take note of the correction, in public finance management from the American University, Washington, D.C., 2012 to 2014. On one hand, and the other in economic policy management from McGill University, Montreal, Canada. Responding to the committee on the current state of the economy, the erudite economic said the economic policy he will profile, if approved, will cater for building a robust economy through improved tax regime to serve the needs. Responding to the committee on the current state of the economy, the erudite economic said the economic policy he will profile, if approved, will cater for building a robust economy through improved tax regimes to serve the needs of Sierra Leone. He promised to harness the state resources with stringent policies that will link all productive sectors but limit extra budgetary spending. He was praised across party line for being a decent young professional delivering remarkable expertise on pro-poor economic programs, especially in the current circumstances of global economic malaise. Mr. Edward M. Parker. Thank you. Mr. Edward M. Parker, proposed member, Independent Peace Commission, South Africa. Yes. Man has been get man. Mr. Parker is a seasoned educationist with more than 2 decades of teaching and delivering research. Please take note of the correction. In the field of English and applied linguistics at tertiary institutions in the United Kingdom, Saudi Arabia, the Gambia, and Sierra Leone. He holds a double master's degrees, one in English teaching and applied linguistics, and the other in education, respectively from the King's College and Greenwich University in the United Kingdom. He poised to contribute to the national human capital development espoused by the current government made him to return home from the UK, and is currently the principal of the Bow Government Secondary School, while selflessly offering consultancies to the tertiary education sector. Responding to the need for peace as a fundamental pillar for development, the nominee said, quoting him, "The divisiveness of our nation, especially along party line, requires such a commission to weigh views on national issues." Take note of the correction, full stop there. "It is crucial as a member to collaborate with colleagues to work with all stakeholders to foster cohesion as we enter the forthcoming election period." End of quote. His humane attributes and dedication to national services were remarkably acknowledged by members across party lines. Recommendations. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the committee adjourned the following presidential nominees to be adequately qualified for their proposed appointments and are unanimously recommended to the House for approval. 1. Engineer Alfred Jalil Momodu, proposed Deputy Director General, Sierra Leone Roads Authority, SLRA. 2. Engineer Jacob Lahai, Taluwa, proposed member, Board of Directors, Road Maintenance Firm Administration, RMFA. 3. Mr. Sheku Ahmed Fantamadi Bangura, proposed Minister, Ministry of Finance. Last but not the least, 4. Mr. Edward M. Parker, proposed member, Independent Peace Commission, IPC. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, based on the aforesaid, I therefore move that the 8th report of the 5th session of the Committee on Appointment and Public Service be adopted by the House and the recommendations contained therein be approved. Read, submitted faithfully by the chairman of the committee, representing constituency 19 from Bukaka Jama Bulamayama, from the powerful Kerema district, Honorable Makisanima JP. L'apport, everybody. More applause.
Any seconder to the motion?
I so second.
Honorable members, the question is that the 7th report of the 5th session of the Committee on Appointments and the Public Service be adopted by the House and that the recommendations contained therein be approved. I will give the floor first and foremost to the seconder of the motion, followed by the other members.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, today we have nominees by His Excellency. We have nominees recommended to this House by His Excellency, the President. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the President has done his constitutional responsibility by nominating to this House 4 things that will help him achieve his agenda. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, as a Parliament, it is our responsibility to help His Excellency the President by doing due diligence and making sure the persons appointed by His Excellency the President are fit for purpose. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, as a Parliament, when I see our constituents here in support of nominees, I'm always obliged, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, to explain to our constituents the role of members of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the last 2 parliaments, the turnover has been extremely very huge. The turnover has been huge for the wrong reasons, Mr. Speaker, honorable members. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, when appointments are done and we approve these people, our constituents are of the strong conviction that we are supposed to do primary development rather than the executive. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, for the edification of our constituents who are here today. Before now, we members of Parliament, we are responsible for primary development. Before the coming into effect, the Local Government Act of 2004, we members of Parliament we are responsible for building the roads. We are responsible for building bridges, PHUs, and schools. But after the war, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, there was a TRC form in this country, and one of their recommendations for the war was the over-centralization of government. In that vein, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, they recommended to central government that the function of development should be devolved and we should create the councils. In 2004, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the councils were created. Those functions were removed from this Parliament and taken to the councils. But Mr. Speaker, honorable members, because of lack of education, the people have been judging us for the wrong reasons and have been voting us out for the responsibilities that should be done. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I'm taking my time to explain because we have appointees here today who are charged with the responsibility of taking development to our people. Mr. Speaker, some few months from now, our faces will be on the ballot papers. And the people will have to judge us based on their performance. The people will definitely have to vote us in or out based on their performance. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, if these appointees perform, we are very sure of coming back. If they don't perform, we will suffer for the things they are doing. So, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, when our constituents come, we should educate them to understand that members of Parliament are no more responsible for development, but they are using this development to judge us. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, to the nominees, after giving this preference, Mr. Speaker, preface, Mr. Speaker, I want to encourage you and I want to admonish you that our success and our return to this Parliament depends on you. If you fail us as a Parliament, we'll have to defend what we are doing. And if we face the people and we explain your activities that they are not convinced, they will vote us out because of what we are doing. Most of the things they are voting us out, Mr. Speaker, for are not our doing, and they are not our responsibility, but we suffer for the executive and the local councils. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the appointees you have been picked from among the lot of Sierra Leoneans to help His Excellency to achieve his dream. You have not been chosen because you are handsome. You have not been chosen because you are the best. You have been chosen because the president believes and relies on you. We hope you perform for His Excellency the President. We hope you perform for the committee on appointments who have recommended you to this house. And we hope you perform for this house and by extension for the people of Sierra Leone. If you fail, Mr. Speaker, you are not just failing yourself, you are failing this parliament and you are failing the people of Sierra Leone. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, let me zero in on these appointees, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me begin with the principal from Bull School, Mr. Speaker. I went to Bull School. Did you? Mr. Speaker, honorable members, if there was no Bull School, there would be no leader of government business, neither the deputy leader of government. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the Great Bull School is a school that trains leaders. Today, even the president of this republic is a student from the Great Bull School. Mr. Speaker, this parliament is led by Bull School. This parliament is led by Bull School. Mr. Principal, I have no doubt that you will perform. You have performed in
Mr. Speaker, point of order.
Please.
Mr. Speaker, point of order. Sit down.
I will certainly allow that point of order. There seems to be a semblance of usurpation of authority.
Mr. Speaker, as far as I know, you are the leader of this parliament and I am the deputy. You are from UCC, I am from CKC.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the fact of the matter is, the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker are coming from both, and they attended both schools from both. That means the association, they are members of the group.
I think we are all from both cities.
Not both. I'm from schools in both. So, Mr. Principal, you have already changed ever since you took over. We hope when you occupy this office as a commissioner in the South, you definitely take your skills to this institution and making sure that you enjoy permanent. Mr. Speaker, honorable member, let me zero in on the Minister of Finance. Mr. Speaker, the Minister of Finance has been training for this position since we took over governance, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I can say this is the best appointment the President is excellent. So far. The reason, Mr. Speaker, why I say this is the best appointment, Mr. Speaker, this man has gone through the ranks. When we came, Mr. Speaker, he was nominated to this house as a deputy minister too. Apart from that, he grew to deputy minister 1. The president was preparing him for this position. And today, is the full minister recommended to this house for the Ministry of Finance. Mr. Speaker, the minister in front of us, Mr. Speaker, has seen the weaknesses and the challenges of his predecessors. He has been part of that ministry for the last 5 years. Mr. Speaker, as a deputy, we used to, when he used to come to this house, we talked. And I am very sure, Mr. Speaker, he has seen the challenges. He has seen the mistakes of people who have sat in that office before him. He had the experience, he had the know-how, but before now he doesn't have the power to change what is happening. Mr. Minister, you've been nominated to be the minister. You've seen where your colleague ministers have gone wrong. You've seen what your colleague ministers have not done that they should have done. And you have now the opportunity to correct the things that your colleagues did not do. Mr. Minister, if you fail His Excellency, you'll be failing yourself. Because you have seen what ministers should have done that they did not do. You've sat at meetings where decisions have been taken that are wrong. You've come to this parliament, we've raised issues with you. We know you don't have the powers to change. Today, you box stop at you. If you don't correct the things that are wrong, then you are disappointed. You now have an opportunity, a unique opportunity to effect the changes that you've always prayed for. Please, Mr. Minister, you see the gallery. You see the support from members of parliament. You see the support from your colleagues. It means you have overwhelming support from the people of Syria. Please, Mr. Minister, when you go to that office, don't disappoint us. We know as a state the challenge of the economic situation. We know as well as you do, because you've been part of it. We know the cost of living and the inflation is extremely very high, which is not making of us. But Mr. Minister, please inject new ideas. The ideas that you have before now that you are not able to inject, please inject them. You have barely 4 months, 5, 6 months, and by the grace of God, when we win 2023, you will become the minister if you succeed. So, Mr. Minister, you have no excuse. As of this parliament, Mr. Minister, I can assure you that you will enjoy the greatest support from us. You've been a friend of this parliament. If you see the support, you've been very friendly to us. When we have difficulties, you've been able to meander yourself between us, the opposition and you. Your relationship between us among members of parliament has been very super. Please carry that humility and that attitude as a minister. We know you will be under pressure because the Ministry of the Finance is the boss. Everybody is coming to that office and everybody wants to benefit and everybody wants to perform through your office. Please take the same humility that you carried on when you were a deputy minister to the ministry as a full-time minister. We are wished well, you have our support, and we are going to assure you as a parliament that will give you fullest of support. I believe even when the opposition will speak, they will say the same. You will have the greatest of support. We are wished well, we hope you will not disappoint us. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, when I see young people nominated to serious positions, I doff my hat to His Excellency, the President. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, when the President took over, he brought in a lot of young people. And I am of the strong conviction that most of us have not disappointed His Excellency, the President. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, if you look on this side, the average age of our leadership will be 45 or 43. That is the confidence His Excellency, the President, have in the young people. A whole arm of government was handed over to young people to manage. And Mr. Minister, Mr. Speaker, because of the performance of young people, we now see the confidence His Excellency, the President, have in nominating more young people. Mr. Speaker, when you hear the position of Director General, before now these are positions not reserved for young people, Mr. Speaker. Today I'm very pleased as a young man for Mr. Engineer Jalil Mokobi. Jalil Momodu, Mr. Speaker, honorable member, is a young man, a very young man. Mr. Speaker, this is the youngest person that is occupying that position as Deputy Director General. And I hope he will perform, because after him, we want more young people to occupy this position. Mr. Speaker, what His Excellency the President has done, he's using us as a guinea pig, as young people. If we succeed, we'll have more young people joining us. But if we fail, we are not just failing ourselves, we are failing the young people of this country. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, Engineer Jalil, you've been called to join us as leaders of this country, as Director General, Deputy Director General. This is a training ground for you. If you deliver in concert with your colleagues, by the grace of God, you will head that institution. So, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, as chairman of Works, Mr. Speaker, let me use this unique opportunity in welcoming the Director General. Of course, you know why. And Mrs. Gamanga, we are close to election. The reason why I'm saying this, Mr. Speaker, is because this country is yearning for roads. We want good roads. We want quality roads. This is the means of development. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, there is no way we can develop if we don't have good roads. Because even our agricultural product has to be traveled by the roads, through the roads. Mr. Speaker, even the mining sector depends on roads. Every sector in this country is on road. So, Mr. Director General, you and your deputy here need to up. We already know the challenges. Thankfully, we have a new Minister of Finance. We hope, Mr. Minister of Finance, the road sector will be given the priority it deserves. Because there is no way we can have quality roads without funding. There is no way. Our contractors want to perform, but they cannot perform because of funding. We give contracts as a government and we renege in pain. We renege in pain. And most of these contracts are time-bound. And because of the inflation, these contracts, because of the inflation, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, some of these contractors are not able to perform. So, Mr. Minister, myself and the team, me as chairman of this committee, the Director General and the Deputy Director General will be knocking at your doors frequently.
Lifetime chairman.
We hope, Mr. Speaker, the few months remaining, Mr. Speaker, we hope the few months remaining of this parliament, the minister will support the road sector so that we can use that as a platform. We have a lot of unfinished projects that should be concluded before elections. We have a lot of unfinished projects which should be completed. And we hope you will give us all the utmost support to complete some of these projects. Mr. Lahai, Engineer Lahai, going to RMFA, you are also under my purview as chairman of Works. So we are going to work collectively. We are going to work collectively for the development of this nation. If you fail, you'll be failing in Sierra Leone. So, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I'm urging all appointees, when you go to these offices, please work as a team. Anthony, Deputy Director General, when you went through the process of nomination, I noticed you went through with other young people who have also applied for this job. And these are all members of SLRA. Please, when you go work with them, you can only succeed when you work as a team. You cannot succeed when you work dividedly. So as a young man, even those who contested for the position, bring them closer. They have ideas. They also wanted to to show their professionalism by heading. They were not fortunate. You are fortunate today to be deputy. Please work with them. Carry them along. That will allow you to perform, and that will be a success in your life. Please work with them. I know the rigorous process you went through for you to be where you are today. Please, as a young man, forget about all else. Lead the process and make sure it's perform. Thank you very much, Mr. Mini. Thank you very much, honorable members. I wish you all well in your new area. Thank you very much.
I thank the Deputy Leader of Government Business for his contribution to the debate. I'll now give the floor to the Honorable Member from Bombali.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to be part of this deliberation. Mr. Speaker, the nominees, when they were interviewed yesterday, we went to observe the process. And on that note, I will not talk much, maybe for just 30 minutes. Mr. Speaker, Engineer Alfred Momodu, Engineer Jacob Lahai, and Mr. Edward Bakker. Mr. Speaker, based on the interview yesterday, the screening interview yesterday, these nominees possess the requisite education and qualification, experience and competencies to run the offices they were nominated. And on that note, Mr. Speaker, I want to entreat them that when in office, let them try to crucify what was stated yesterday in the interview. That sometimes, having been passed in Parliament, some of these nominees sometimes disappoint Parliament. And I hope the three of you I have mentioned will not disappoint Parliament this time when we shall have approved you. Mr. Speaker, I want to urge this House to approve these three nominees I have just highlighted. Mr. Alfred Momodu, Mr. Jacob Lahai, and Mr. Sam Bakker. Mr. Speaker, let me come to the crux of the matter. The proposed Minister of Finance, Mr. Sheku Ahmed Batamali Bakura. And I will limit my debate to asking, who is Batamali? And I will attempt to answer. Listen and learn. Mr. Speaker, when you look at the gallery, you will accept what I'm going to say that Mr. Batamali is a friend of the grassroots. mankind. Mr. Speaker, who is Pantabali? Pantabali is a decent young professional man who believes in delivery. He is Mr. Speaker, who is Pantabali? Pantabali is a person who will harness the state resources with stringent policies. He is the man who will do that. Who is Pantabali? Mr. Speaker, we on this side, anything that is good, you know it, that we will support it. And that is why I am particularly here this morning to pay tribute to a good friend, a friend of Parliament.
I just want to thank you for endorsing my observation earlier when I admonished them that the support they demonstrated by coming should not stop here. Go all the way.
Mr. Speaker, I will not allow you to put one on my mouth. Mr. Speaker, I will continue. Who is Pantabali? Pantabali is of a person who would cater for building a robust economy through improved taxation. That is the man. Who is Pantabali? Pantabali is a listening minister. And who is he? Pantabali is a respecter of the rule of law. And he has respect across the aisle because he exhibited himself in a way that he deserved that respect. Mr. Speaker, I want to join colleagues to extend my profound appreciation to His Excellency President Bio for giving this nation a fine gentleman, a hard-working man, and a decent gentleman that will move the economy of this country to its expectation. Mr. Speaker, after I have described Minister Bangura to be as a friend of Parliament, I would like to refer him to a policy statement that was made here by your predecessor. I will not read it, I will only refer you to the relevant page and the relevant paragraph. Mr. Speaker, you know that Kaloko speaking here is always key to pursuing the welfare agenda of this House. And on that note, Mr. Speaker, I will refer the minister, the proposed minister, who will shortly approve to paragraph 74, page 23 of the Statement of Economic and Financial Policies 2023, and with specific reference to Roman number 6. And that is the reference I am going to give you. When you get to your office, go and look at that policy statement, and we'll work towards it keenly. And we are going to observe and to even evaluate you towards that reference. Mr. Speaker, having made such a submission, I will now urge this House and respectfully ask this House to approve the proposed Minister of Finance and the 3 other nominees to go to their work. I thank you.
I thank the honorable member for I was waiting for a list to be presented to me. I don't know how far it's gone.
Cut the eyes.
I will try to accommodate as many people as possible. But let's do a deal. I've got to limit to 5. Those in favor of 5 minutes, raise your hands. 5 minutes. And you know your numbers already. Multiply by 5 minutes. 3. No, I will say 3. If we agree on 3, then I will accommodate as many as I possibly can.
You're right. 3 accepted.
My ruling is 3. Fine. And let me start with the lady. And clerks, time is strictly on 3 minutes. If you exceed 3, I'm afraid I'll call the other member to take the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank His Excellency once more for giving us beautiful nominees. There's no doubt about their education and background. They are well qualified, and sometimes when 5 nominees like this, as Speaker, if I were the president, I will nominate them and just let them to go to their different committees and that's all. But the law is the law. We have to go through the normal procedures. I actually want to zoom on 2 people, Mr. Speaker, since we have just 3 minutes. And these 2 people are Mr. Engineer Karim and the Finance Minister. Mr. Speaker, I am the happiest woman today for this year. I'm saying this because I'm saying this with heavy voice, and I would like all of you to actually appreciate my happiness. It's been 60 years since the departure of, since independence, Mr. Speaker. We've been waiting for a tar road to enter my constituency. And under His Excellency, the retired Julius Madam, who has made it possible for it to happen. And I would like the whole world, in fact, it's now going the whole world because we are on WhatsApp, we communicate everywhere, that we appreciate it so much. My father, the PC guy, told me, brought the first electricity before Canada. And today, his intention was for him to have a time. Unfortunately, he's late. But I'm sure when my time comes, when I meet him, and I will tell him, yes, Daddy, we be my anyway. So, as I said this today, Mr. Karim is going to be my best first-year friend for the year. And I hope and believe that Togi, in return, we appreciate and give back what His Excellency has given us. And trust me, we will do everything within our power for it to happen. I trust you, Mr. Excellency. And then I want to talk about the Minister of Finance. Minister of Finance, thank you. You've been here with us for quite some time. And your predecessors have been working there. And I'm sure His Excellency has been watching you. He took up this country with a fragmented economy. And you guys have been working endlessly, sleepless nights, to make sure each civil servant gets his pay at the end of every month. I thank you so much. And I thank this government for having such a beautiful and hardworking, finance ministers.
Thank you, your time, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I'm sure all of you will have noticed over the last 5 years almost that I have a very soft spot for it. So the next speaker on my list is the member of the House.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I want to quickly say thanks to His Excellency for choosing these right people for us. I have no doubt they can do it. They are qualified and overqualified. It's just a matter of just adding, SO2, ETO on it, so let the people know who are these people. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the president made no mistake to choose these people. And at the same time, and if you can see around today, the amount of people or the accolade that comes up from there, that shows the importance of these particular nominees. And they are all qualified. You have our blessings as parliament, because the president has done his, and is left with us to give you the go-ahead or to give you our blessing. And you are blessed today. Go and serve the people. But let me just quickly zoom in two people. The Minister of Finance and the Deputy Director General. Not the quote that matters, but the man in the quote. I want to quote again in Temne that says, on SO2, on LOL, Kero, Loli. You see this people? On LOL, Kero, Loli.
You must know that she went to Matura.
Meaning, I made this particular quotation because we have our sisters or brothers who are here today to listen about this man, the goodies of that man, the Minister of Finance, and also the young man whom the honorable member gave an accolade. He's a small gentleman, but he's very young, but have the experience. I'm happy for him because his boss, he is the foot shoulder of his boss, so they will work together. Because I vividly remember when I go to SLR, if I go to bother them, the first person that you will call, SO2, we are una call Momodu. Una call Momodu. So meaning you have a cordial relationship. Keep it up. Don't say because now I am the deputy, you know you do this, you do that. I know you for one thing, to be very humble. I have known you for the past years. In fact, we came from the same region. But I want to tell you that keep it up and make sure that you work and listen to your boss. You have to be very informed. That enviable seat is not easy. Because if you see all these people here, they are coming from other districts and talking about roads, you know, it's very, very important. That is why we are here. They are here today. And the road cannot be made without financing. That is why we blocked the Minister of Finance yesterday to listen to what we ask you. And you should work together. And Mr. Minister, you are the friend of Parliament. Keep it up. I don't envy you at all. But that particular ministry is very hot. It's that you have to make sure you work in the interest of the people you are representing. And the minute you have to, you lead and others follow. It is very difficult as at now, if we are talking about economy, if we are talking about development, it is the life, the backbone. The Ministry of Finance is the backbone of the government. It can make and break if the person is not good and strong enough to carry that mantle. And I have no doubt that you'll be able to carry that mantle with the support of Parliament and the support of your team. You have to have teamwork. Consult, work together. It is not easy to man a Ministry of Finance at this time, but it is the backbone. We rely on you people. And pretty soon, 4 or 5 months, I heard from the other colleagues that you say it's a continuing process. Pretty soon, that determines that the accolade here, and I want to commend my speaker by asking the people is not only here, we are waiting. So you have to show that to your brother whom is coming from the north. And thank God they are saying political what. But I like my president for one thing. He cut across. And here's a northerner. He's here today, minding the biggest and the enviable ministry of finance. So that shows how honest, how dedicated, how love he has for these people. So you have to live to the expectation of Mr. President. So on that note, I want to thank the peace man again from the Bo School. I know Bo School to be very peaceful sometimes. So carry that along. Carry that along with you. And make sure you keep on the good running and send the message to the others. So we have more Bo School people here and other Matora people, because I don't have we don't see any Matora yet. But I hope and believe that one day Matora will come and women will come. So with that, I want to say thank you. And I'm urging all my colleagues not to waste time, so they can help you to go ahead. It's just a continuing process because we are here. So sit there to present a document is not easy. So you have to continue. We want to urge all my colleagues to quickly approve these people so that they can go and just continue with their good job. Congratulations in advance.
You are beautiful. Mr. Speaker, you can be quiet. I move the SOP suspended.
Thank you. Any second after that? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. And I now give the floor to the honorable member from Carrying District. Charity begins at home.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I rise to add my voice to the issue on floor. And to thank His Excellency for the nominations presented to this honorable House. 4 nominations, and I just thought I should gently remind His Excellency that
avoid any distortion. Can somebody closest to the mic over there please put it up?
I'd like to gently remind His Excellency that though it's not mandatory, the nominations this time are short of the third person, the 30%. And so I think it should be taken care of the next time. We enacted law here making it, although His Excellency was exempted, but I think he should set it as an example. I want to say thank you to His Excellency for the nominations. They are all qualified people. Having gone through the appointments committee, we feel they have all the necessary attributes, qualification, experience. Of course, like all the other nominees we've had before. They have come here, and I don't remember any time, and that is remarkable. His Excellency is a good observer. He chooses well. Because not once have we rejected any nomination, if I can remember well. So he must have done a good job. But nominees are selected on the basis of their education, on the basis of their performance in their previous job. We hope that the excellence they showed in those appointments would be transferred to the new appointments. And so there is great expectation from the public. And for me, there's been a lot of rhetoric. We have no problem with the qualifications. We have no problem with the track records, but we have a problem with the output after appointment. Because we are where we are facing a global problem. Everywhere there is difficulties, but each government deals with its own difficulties in its own way to help the people of this country. That's the catch. So when people say it's a global problem, yes, it's all over. Every country is affected. But look at the individual countries. And so it is incumbent on our appointees who will go to take over appointments very soon to make sure that they add value to the affairs of this country. I think a lot more needs to be done in that direction. I want to take a few back. We have 2 areas, very important areas covered by the appointees today. The roads business and finance, very central to the development of this country. In the narratives given to us by the minister in his budget speech, there was a mention of the road in the Karina district between Makeni and Kamakwe, and there was the bridge, the Tompari Bridge, also mentioned to be constructed. Now, I was able to go through the estimates, and incidentally, I found nothing allocated for those projects. And I'm concerned. I hope the Ministry of Finance, but also the affected departments will take note of that, because it was mentioned by His Excellency in his address and also repeated by the Minister of Finance.
And on that note,
I want to thank His Excellency and hope that we make sure that when we screen properly, and because we have the power to vet, vetting means you either approve or disapprove. We haven't disapproved anybody. But I think in future, Parliament should be given the authority, the power to recall underperforming officials and maybe question them why they have not delivered. I thank you.
I thank the honorable member for his contribution. I now give the floor to the honorable member from the Western area. Followed by the honorable member from Kono. 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. But you don't understand, Mr. Speaker is already instituting the district block system. So he knows I cover the district starting from Levuma onto Bridge. So take that into consideration. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I have 3 minutes. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for giving me the floor. And I want to start by saying thank you also to Engineer Alfred Jalin Momodu. Mr. Speaker, today I am donning a suit in a tie. And this tie was given to me 15 years ago by Engineer Jalin Alfred Momodu. This was my first tie. This was my first tie. On getting my first job, I could not afford a tie. Engineer Jalil Momodu gave me my first tie. And he did not only give me my first tie, he had paid fees for me whilst I was in college. He's a magnanimous man, he's a good man. What I will tell him, I have 3 minutes, Mr. Speaker. I will tell him that what he has done, by the way, is my in-law. By the way, he's my in-law. And I want to tell him that what he has done with my sister.
Today we're going to have a house of confession.
Mr. Speaker, I want to admonish him that what he has done with my sister, taking her as an undergraduate lady to a full-fledged lawyer, I hope you use the same to transform the whole society. That's the only thing I will say. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, this is the first accolade of us hailing from Cambia District. This is the first Minister of Finance from Cambia District. President Bio has consistently been making history. And for us, if you look at the Western area, my regional chairman is Western area Cambia. Deputy regional chairman, Western area Cambia. So this appointment means a lot to us in the Western area and Cambia districts. I would want to congratulate the Minister of Finance designate. And everybody knows that he's a friend of Parliament. And Parliament is sure that he understands what the eyes of March mean. Parliament is sure. So, Mr. Minister, you have our support. You have always been with us, but the task ahead is daunting. The challenges ahead is daunting. But one thing I want to say, I want you to go and give a gift to your secretary. I have been in your office severally, and that secretary continuously has been referring to you as the acting minister. And today you are the full minister. So that secretary has always meant good for you from the first day you entered this country. You came in as a chubby-looking man, but the stress at the Ministry of Finance has drained you to this point. But I want to assure you that the task ahead is way bigger than what you have done in the last 3 years. We are sure that you are going to deliver, and we are sure that you are not going to let Cambia down. Because this is our first appointment, and we are going to deliver for President Bio. Like the Speaker has said, we are going to deliver right through onto the end, and we'll give the numbers to ensure that, like somebody in the panel said yesterday, when you will be presenting your next budget in October, and that person was from the opposition, which means that person has already alluded that we are going to win. So Cambia, we are going to win. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I bring salutation from the Cambia Kono clans. I bring salutation from the Cambia Carrigan family. They said they will say thanks to HE, the president, later, but they want to appreciate this house if we approve their son, their brother, their uncle, the finance minister proposed Mohammed Fantamadi Bangura. Mr. Speaker, even the two rivers in Kono sent their salutation. The Tompane Ferry River and the Gaba Ferry sent their salutation to this house for the proposed minister. Mr. Speaker, I know that this house will approve the minister with no hesitation because he's a qualified somebody and we believe that the minister is going to be approved. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I will shift to Engineer Jalil Momodu. I want to assure this house that under the leadership of Engineer Kane, the director, sometime in 2020, we went for an oversight as a committee on planning and economic development. The director gave us Engineer Momodu to lead the activities, Mr. Speaker. I want to assure this house that I have no doubt why His Excellency the President have appointed this young man to take over the leadership as deputy to the director. Mr. Speaker, Engineer Momodu and team, we are very, very professional when we went on that oversight to see the Mabam Bridge. By then it was just pillars. The Bere Bridge, by then it was just pillars. And the Liberia Highway, by then it was not completed yet. Liberia Highway, Jedema, and the Moyamba Junction, Moyamba Road. I want to confess also that Engineer Momodu was so professional. And he was informing CSC, the contractor, that this is the house of laws. With their oversight role, we always have to listen to what they need from us. So even us, from the SLRA side, we listen to them. And I want to also assure this house that SLRA played a very important role for the completion of those routes. So under the leadership of President Julius Maada Bio, I am confident, and I believe my party and my leadership, we are confident that the President is approving professionals or appointing professionals for them to carry out professional jobs for the progress of this nation. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I am confident that Jalil Momodu will do more. And Mr. Momodu, we want to assure you that Parliament will have your backing, as we will continue to have the backing of the Finance Minister and all other appointees so far. I will end, Mr. Speaker, for the two nominees from both school and the brother going to RMFA. Be rest assured that under the leadership of my leader, Honorable Salim Asin Lamina, we are charged with the responsibility to guide the national medium-term plan of the government of this country. Mr. Speaker, will continue to support them so that they will succeed in doing their activities. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honorable member for Udia, we have the floor. Thank you, Mr.
I will begin my debate by borrowing a phrase from one of the senior most member of this parliament by saying, I will quote, today again. Today again has a lot of meaning attached to it, Mr. Speaker. Today again could be thanking His Excellency for continuing to appoint good people, good personalities for position in Israel. And also today again thanking the Parliament for continuing to approve these people in unanimity. Today again is relevant for us to be able to track to link performance to output at the end of their functions. Mr. Speaker, is there a significant relationship between the process of appointing people here and the report, and also at the performance of those that will be going to the MBAs? If there is there a possibility of tracking performance at the level of our own activities, giving to oversight responsibility, so that at the end of the day, will we be able to at least recognize if we are not giving appraiser in the form of money, in the form of retaining them in their position. We'll be able to recognize their performance in the best way possible, like giving certificates, giving some recognition, so that we will be able, and that will serve as a good example to those who might not be working with Parliament in a good faith. Mr. Speaker, we trace performance of people back to their qualification from what we look at in the reports. When we say people have the requisite qualification, they have the academic experience, they have the professional experience, and they have the requisite skills to be able to deliver very well. But at the end, we will not be able to track any of these performance alongside the performing their function. I will have to limit myself with the Ministry of Finance. Minister of Finance, when you go into that office, you have realized in your various financial reports, please look at the policy process, look at the implementations of programs. Consider the issues of soft programs and physical programs. See how you can look at them critically. See where you find leakages. Look at the SOEs critically. Look at their performance and look at their governance issues. Please review that critically and in depth, and to see how we can avoid those leakages. I have seen it, and we are always losing a lot of money on that. Take that seriously and know we are aware of it. The road maintenance fund, you have a lot of administrative policy issue relationship in that space. Please, when you go there, try to internalize the issues properly. Try to internalize the policy relationship between workers and hierarchy of administrators, and also the linking institutions like the ministry. If you are able to do that very well, with critical decisions will be taken that will affect your productivity and the productivity of that MDA. With that, because I have 3 minutes, Mr. Speaker, let us have exhausted. Yes, sir. So let us try to make a kind of document that will be able to track performance in terms of these good things we say about this minister or MDs. Thank you very much.
The lady from both.
The mic is not working. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the floor. Mr. Speaker, I may even finish my intervention before 3 minutes. I want to start by congratulating the nominees before us this afternoon. I want to congratulate them in advance for the offices they are going to man. For all of them, let me quickly tell you that there is no space for failure. And because there is no space for failure, that's why you sometimes see us replacing our predecessors. It goes for all of you present that the president wants to achieve what he has told the people of this country since 2018. We have our manifestos, which we visit often and again, and it's because he wants to achieve what he has said in this manifesto. That is why he has decided to replace most of you and to bring you up in these positions. So there's no place for failure. Failure is not an excuse at all. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I want to zoom in 3 nominees present before us this afternoon. In the first instance, I want to start with Engineer Jalil, whom I refer to as my son. You have been a very receptive person since you are a very young man, because you are now a grown-up man. Since a young man, you have been very receptive. For most of us who have been in this game of politics and in development programs, we have known you to be somebody who listens to us and who always is ready to work with politicians, more especially. It's not only SLPP. I'm not saying this because I'm SLPP. You have worked with different political parties, and your reception has always been good. All I can say in that direction, Ijia Modu, keep up the good work. It's all the accolade that has been accorded you this morning. Keep it up. Because there are some people, as soon as they achieve higher positions, they make themselves bigger than what we expect them to be. And each time, sometimes they even put off their phone calls. Parliament, we don't have beggars here. But we work for the people. We are the people's representative. We speak for them. When we call you in your different offices, have time to listen to us. When you listen to us, you will do what the president wants, because we are the foot soldiers for His Excellency the President. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I will soon sit down. Please, just few seconds, not even also a minute. Mr. Minister of Finance, consider your position as the live wire of this country. That ministry is the live wire. It's so pivotal that you become so enviable. It's an enviable position. You know you are the friend of Parliament. The friend of Parliament, meaning you are the friend of Sierra Leone. Help us work very, very hard in that position. And Mr. Packer, to crown it all, Mr. Speaker, thank you. Mr. Packer, you know peace is very important. Without peace, all of us will not be seated here. So please, you have been given that assignment. Make sure you work towards it and let peace be maintained. In this country, with peace, we achieve a lot of other development programs. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I think I reached a convenient point for me to make a few recognitions here. The very first recognition, take your seats, honorable members. The first recognition from me today will go to Mr. Amara Jambai Kane, Director General of SLRA. And I do so for good measure. He's going to have a deputy with whom he is in cordial working relations. And I want to congratulate the deputy in advance. And above all, they're going to have a new Minister of Finance. There can be no better time for me to remind them of the road from Kabata to Batkan than now. The road from Kabata to Batkan is the first trunk road in the north. But like true to our tradition, when we have new clothes, we tend to shed the old ones. Since the road from Lozar to McKinney was constructed, that trunk road fell into oblivion to this day. So please, I'm begging on behalf of the people of that part of the country that road is still active and important. Let me also recognize, of course, in the same vein, the one and only distinguished Financial Secretary. Has he gone? Sir Jusu was in our midst with his deputy, Mr. Matthew Dingley. Let me also recognize Mr. Bakari Kanoko, Deputy Minister of Finance, Dr. Ibrahim Stevens, Deputy Governor, Monetary Stability of the Bank of Sierra Leone, Mr. Sam Aruna, Ministry of Finance, Deputy Financial Secretary. Dr. Samuel Jibao, NRA, is here. I understand he too has gone. A lady whose name is a household name, Madam Fatmata Sawane. Mr. Solomon Jamiro, Deputy Minister in the Ministry of Information. Mr. Batilo Jimmy Songa. And when we talk about power, may I take this opportunity to remind all of us that there is a man called Fode Rado Yu. NATCOM is in our midst. Former minister, former DG. Mr. David Bobo, FIU, is also here. Mrs. Yakama Manti Jones, is she here? Dr. Alassane Mansare, Ministry of Finance. And Sir Fatoma, former honorable. If I have left anyone out, please forgive us. We recognize your importance and your contribution to this country. Let me now give the floor. I don't intend sitting here beyond 1 o'clock today. So forgive me if you're going to miss out on this particular occasion. I know all of you would want to participate and have a say. But let me take the two gentlemen here first. I know NGC, I know you've been. Let me start with Jimao, followed by you. Where is the chairman? Chairman Finance.
It's the chairman finance.
The chairman finance will be third, and then NGC for 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Not 1 second more, not 1 second less.
Mr. Speaker,
Keep up, please take note.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I am really very happy. Anytime that President Bio manifests that in his governance, he knows not color, he knows not region, he knows not age. President Bio has manifested that he has brought people of my generation to handle the finances of Sierra Leone. If you look at the people in charge of the finances of Sierra Leone, you take the deputy governor, you take the financial secretary, you take the minister of finance designate, now all of them fall within the same genre of age bracket. And this is to show that he has trust in young people in the middle age, and that they have been performing. So the Minister of Finance, I have been following you very carefully. It seems as if any time that the president thinks there is a crisis in an institution, he brings you on board. He brought you on board during the COVID crisis period in Sierra Leone. You went there and you prove your mettle, you performed in that area. Today again, he has brought you on board as the Minister of Finance. You had been Deputy Minister of Finance 1, you rose to Deputy Minister of Finance 2, and today, if approved, you are going to be the substantive Minister of Finance. Like my brother from the Western area said, normally promotions come with extra responsibility. When you are promoted from class 1 to class 2, it means you have to work hard. This time you have to work harder. If you've been sleeping for 3 hours, you now have to cut it down to 2 hours. We are the boss by the wayside that get to hear what people say when they are going to their farms. Through no fault of this administration, the global economy is challenged. Please pay your attention to the foreign exchange rate in Sierra Leone. It's galloping by hour. If you go to the market today, if it is at 8:20, you go there next hour, it goes at 8:50. There is very little or no control. And I believe it's not making of hours. I believe putting heads together, working with the Ministry of Agriculture, because most of these things have to do with what we export. If we don't export, definitely we will not have foreign exchange in our economy. When you work with all of these 9 ministries, I am sure, I'm really sure, that we will be able to control this foreign exchange crisis in Sierra Leone. I also want you to look at the cash flow. I want you to look at the cash flow. For some of us that goes to the bank, there are times the cash flow is somehow limited. Sometimes you have to bring your economic theory for customers to actually access their finances at the bank. I want you to look at that area, looking at it from the perspective of importation of already manufactured cash, with regards to what is dished out to the commercial institution and how it is being streamlined. We know definitely we are gradually going to a cashless economy. Nowadays, we use more of our phones. I can carry 20 million euros in our phone. Maybe if we gravitate faster towards that area, like the United Kingdom, it will help us.
Thank you.
On that note, Mr. Speaker, I want to say thank to you, to the guy, the engineer. He was my colleague mate. I am quite sure that he will make us proud and he will make his in-law proud. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I will start by thanking the President for giving us this fine nominees, especially my elder. Those who went to Jala, they know when you say elder. It's a corporate elder. Yeah, and he has been a peace ambassador when we were in college. We are our seniors in college. For any time we had problems, Edipaka will be called upon to mediate between the students and the principal at that time. So I have no doubt he has been given a bigger opportunity to now mediate, serve as a peace ambassador nationally. I'm sure he will perform. For the Minister of Finance, is also a colleague. I don't want to say much because I know he can deliver with the galaxy of professional economists and accountants around him. I'm sure he will deliver. You recall in our budget discussion, several issues they have brought forward, and he promised as if he knew that if he's given the opportunity, he will see how he can work with the other team to see that we change the dynamics of this economy. For the engineer Momodu, I'm very happy today because he was one of the pioneers that started the Mano Junction to Kono grading and widening of the road. I'm sure this time we will also continue to put heads together with the director so that road, which is the economic basket of this country, will be paid. Thank you very much.
The Chair of Finance Committee.
Thank you. Honorable members,
Followed by the Honorable.
of course, the nominees are qualified as presented by the leader of government and chairman of the appointment committee. The nominee for the Peace Commission, we have peace, relative peace, but that peace must be consolidated because without peace there will be no development. Also doing the political intervention of this country, there will be no development absolutely. So we hope
on his appointment and approval, we will work alongside the chairman of that commission and other commissioners to ensure that we have cohesive and consolidated peace in this country. Of course, institutions of IMFA and Road SLRA, they are supposed to be working in concert to ensure they have done their bit, but they must agree that there are still jobs to be done on our roads. On the Minister of Finance designate, the economy, the state will be run on an economy, and the Minister of Finance must lead that process to provide the policy guidelines. And of course, the Minister of Finance must be at the helm of things. And I think we cannot be comfortable with any vacuum in that particular ministry. And that is the more reason the President has thought it fit to appoint as quickly as possible the current minister, the minister designate in that position, Mr. Fantamadi Bangura. And Parliament must attest that he has worked with us for all this while, and parliamentarians are doing all their colleagues this morning. And we are pretty sure he is equal to the task and he can fly the flag of this country. I want to quickly respond to the honorable member from the Western area. He did say Mr. A.F. Bangura, of course, is from Cambia. But I must say he has a very strong root in Kenema district. He has a very strong root in Kenema district. He was born and bred in Kenema. And I must remind him that in his quest to ensure that we progress in this country, he should bear in mind that he's coming from both Cambia and Kenema. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I was away. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, His Excellency the President, retired brigadier, is demonstrating to the people of Sierra Leone on a daily basis that this nation is never in drought of good breeds. What we saw yesterday at the probing and vetting satisfied members of the committee. Mr. Speaker, the nominees should be congratulated in advance. I'm too sure, and I have no inkling of doubt, that they will see the blessings of this house. What a privilege for them to be nominated among almost 8 million Sierra Leoneans. I'm too sure they will make us proud in any case. President Bio has done his by appointing you. The Parliament of Sierra Leone are doing theirs. For the others, this Parliament, the 5th Parliament, is on record that we have at least repeal, and the making of new laws, 69. The others have it. 70, about 70 constitutional and statutory instruments. And it also surprised us all, for the others, that we have at least ratified 350 conventions, treaties, agreements, etc., etc. We have done ours. We have done ours of playing oversight over you. We have done ours of making good and workable laws. We have done ours of representing our people across the aisle. We have done ours of promoting the peace and the national cohesion. And we have done ours of approving the 2023 budget. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the ball is now in their own very court. And if it's in their own very court, we are here to admonish you today that you do this nation well. How? Starting with Fantamadi Hamesheku Bangura. He's a fine gentleman. I also employ and encourage him to cut a page from his predecessor. One of the pages that you cut from your predecessor is in paragraph 52 of 2023 budget. He did promise that he will not have any new tax, and everything that has to do with taxation until the end of 2023 he is not going to add. Cut a page from paragraph 52 of the 2023 budget. Except one wants to downplay it, but the economy globally is challenging. Analyze the 4 biggest economies in the world, including China, USA, UK, and Japan. It's challenging. All what they forecasted, it dropped down. Looking at Africa's scenario, oh yes, the biggest economies in Africa, Cairo, Egypt is one. Kenya is another. For East Africa, South Africa is South Africa, and West Africa is Nigeria. All of their projection, it dropped down. Sierra Leone cannot be an exception. We are trying with a proper policy
implementation, we have been doing well. This morning, I googled through the internet and I saw that Rwanda is going for 40% increase. Inflation. Oh yes, that's Rwanda. Ghana is 54.1. You can imagine? Sudan is 88%. Zimbabwe is 244.1%. Sierra Leone is trying. We are just 29%. That tells you that the economic policies of this nation have been very great. We must commend you. We must commend you, Mr. Minister. Mr. Minister, with the short interaction we got with him yesterday, actually demonstrated that he understands the issues of the day. His interpretation of the proper policies for the vulnerable, for the youth, etc., made us proud. And you can be assured of Parliament support that will continue to give you the requisite support, and you in turn will continue to make us proud. Mr. Bangura Fantamadi. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, for the two engineers, I will just double Engineer Momodu and Engineer Lai Tolua. They have been very great. In all my glory, Mr. Speaker, I must confess to you, the board member manning the RMFA, in all my glories as a former mayor, I only implemented 3 billion oleos on feeder roads. Today, I'm on record that Credit News Service, where I used to be mayor, has at least implemented 20 billion oleos. Can you imagine? That tells you the vision that His Excellency President Bio has at cabinet level to approve. For districts that have the potential for population, for proximity, and for socio-economic growth, you have been doing well, and I believe you follow the same trend. Engineer Momodu, definitely you do us well. If we can notice the productivity of agriculture in Kalan, in Kenima, and Kono district, it has to do with roads. When the roads are improved, it has no include doubt. We are very proud from Kono district today. In less than 6 months, when he was working as operation, very closely with the DG, Kane Amara, in less than 6 months, he came with the results. The results of the Guinea border. And you will not know the socio-economic importance of that Guinea road. I'm talking of the road between Kwedu City and the Guinea. It connects Atlant towns in Guinea, and by extension, Ivory Coast, Mali, and Guinea. Very soon, Kono will become an international trade center. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I will end with Principal Edward Packer. Mr. Speaker, this nation needs this man. How? I will tell you. Earlier this year, I went with my son for admission at the Bow Government Secondary School. Pragmatic man. How did he demonstrate that? Just entering the office, greetings, immediately started interview with my boy. Yeah, what's your name? My boy said, I'm Gospel Amina. Gospel Amina, tell us who are you? Who's your father? At once. And at the end of the day, express admission he gave my boy. Pragmatic principal. I love you. Mr. Speaker, this nation needs peace experts that are so pragmatic like Principal Bakra. We have suffered so much from the theories of Andrew Jackson. If you watch the American history, 1827, we are told about a democratic president called Andrew Jackson. A tailor by background. He was the initiator of the will that takes all. And we've seen the danger, the toxic politics, ethnicity, that this winner takes all has created. When we see important ceremonies, former leaders of this nation, they renege from it, like state opening, like independence day ceremony, we should be worried. I'm too sure Mr. Pakra's pragmatic role will do lots to actually bring peace. Unfortunately, few of the elites from across the region, few of the elites are actually endangering toxic politics to our poor illiterates in the village, with no disrespect. Few of the elites, they will send and nurse identity formation. See this set of people, they don't love us. You have to destabilize that. And I'm too sure the school that you are superintending over actually brings people from across the nation, from the east, west, north, south. So, giving you this appointment to serve in an independent commission for peace and national cohesion is just like you are a tailor-made. Tailor-made over both school, tailor-made in the nation. And they're going to bring every Sierra Leonean on board so that they will see that this nation should be our goal rather than division. We don't need it. And like I already want president at a time, we don't need it. So, Mr. Principal, Edward Becker, I'm too sure that you push peace from across the region. Continuous engagement of the radio and the television. Let people understand that this nation is a lovely nation. If Rwanda, with whom we had the same time of war in 1994, Sierra Leone was at the peak of its war, as well as Rwanda, today they have grappled and they are advancing because of love for the nation. I'm too sure you have lots of this radio talk show for our people of Sierra Leone to believe in Sierra Leone and to have peace. And President BO has demonstrated that. On that note, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I love honorable members across the aisle. We give our fullest support for the approval of these fine nominees. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I'm indeed a very happy man today. I'm happy because I've always said here in this parliament that I will never tell a lie. And I've always said here that whatever I say will come true. That's my uncle. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, you remember in one of my interventions for nominations, I said here in this realm that His Excellency the President had to sack many more people if he wanted a second term. Now, we are living through this. Very recently, we had to approve people here. Today, we are approving others. You know why this is happening? I'm glad the president is a president who listens. He listens and he reacts to what the people are saying. We very well remember in my contribution for the budget this year, I picked on just one word: continue. Word continue. And as I say it now, Mr. Fantamadi is looking at me. Why? Because they are asking the question. He was here. Unfortunately, he had to present it. But the writer was different. I said, why do we continue when we know that these policies are failed policies? It was unfortunate. He had to continue because he was not on his own. Mr. Speaker, I'm glad the president has decided to listen that the policies, the financial policies we had, they are failed policies, and that it's not too late. It's never too late. That at least he has to make some changes to salvage the economy of this country. Mr. Fantamadi, I want to welcome you on board. I want to ask my colleagues to speedily approve you because this country has a problem. This country has a problem. When we talk about global, about the economic problems being global, let us at least look at our sister countries. Okay? Let us look at how the Leone is trailing far behind the French Guinea. At least we should not begin to talk about global when our next door neighbors are making a difference. I'm sure, Mr. Fantamadi, you have come to stop this. In a very short while, I want to see the Leone chasing the French Guinea, and perhaps before the end of our term of office, I want to see the Leone chopping the French Guinea. That will make me proud because my people are suffering. My people are suffering for the Leone being so low because they have direct use. On that note, Mr. Speaker, I'm asking my colleagues to speedily ratify and approve the nominations and ensure that
For those of you who missed out this time, better luck next time. now give the floor to the acting leader of the opposition.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, let me start by thanking and also commending the previous various speakers that subscribed to the motion before us this afternoon.
What does it signify?
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I also feel obliged to state, among other things, that the leader of the main opposition party, Honorable Cherno R.M. Ba, is unavoidably not in our midst this afternoon for very obvious reasons. No, for another national important national engagement. But that notwithstanding, Mr. Speaker, colleagues, honorable members, as a member of the Committee on Appointments that took part in the preliminary vetting and screening of our distinguished nominees, let me confirm to the people of this country that I am of the strong opinion, I am of the strong conviction that under the watch of our dynamic leader of the House, the Committee on Appointment must have done justice to the people of this country for very thoroughly screening and in fact clinically vetted our distinguished nominees, putting the interests of this country above every other reason. And Mr. Speaker, colleagues, honorable members, it is against that backdrop that I will attest to the facts. I call it an undeniable fact as reported by the leader that the nominees were found to be adequately qualified and suitable for the positions for which they were all nominated. It is therefore the business of this plenary, this House, not to belabor on this issue, but to rather, Mr. Speaker, colleague honorable members, ask that we speedily approve the nominees before us. Mr. Speaker, not to belabor on the issue, I can still vividly remember that you told us yesterday that this sitting is going to be short and sweet. And consistent with that, I want to just proffer a piece of advice to the nominees. We know you are qualified, you are capable of delivering, but time is of essence, time is not in your favor. I have to draw your attention that His Excellency the President must have a very good reason to take this crucial decision. This decision at this point in time, a time I will call 11th hour. You have to be mindful of the fact that the 2023 elections will not be subject to explanations. Sierra Leoneans, I always maintain it as Speaker, supported and voted us the other day to various elected positions for diverse reasons. But majority of the people of this country, they supported and voted us into various elected positions for no other reason other than a change. This new direction, change, is having problems. So for you, the nominees, you have to be mindful of that and live up to the expectation of His Excellency, the President. I have listened to what has been said by various speakers about you. I will therefore not delve into the merits of your capacity, but will rather advise that go there and do it. Go and serve Sierra Leone. With that, Mr. Speaker, I want to solicit the general membership of this House to speedily approve the nominees for them to go to business. Thank you.
I thank the honorable member especially for acknowledging that the new direction is the right direction. And I give the floor to the leader of the nominee.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, honorable colleagues, for your various contributions to what we have done at the committee stage for the nominees we have in front of us today. Thank you, Mr. President, for giving us fine Sierra Leoneans, blend of professionalism, expertise, and you name them. The barrage of praises you are giving us today, because an extension of our work from the committee to that of the plenary. We have done no mistake to bring them here for our final approval to the plenary. I will not waste much time in describing them or go over what I have done before. I will say policies are geared towards a better nation, but implementation serves us best to turn things around as we are called the new directions, the right direction. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, how do we change policies, especially we are having challenging economy? Good policies, we always change our economy. So we are advising the minister to look at the policies that are not working. There will be part of policies that are working, for example, the introduction of QAP during the COVID, and when they envisage the COVID, that there are going to be a multi-point or there is going to be a downward trend in the economy. They brought in the QAP without the central bank. That's a very good idea. It's a quick action economic recovery program. They did well. So today, we are still have full stock within the market. Another policy that the minister himself is here to be approved today, Deputy Minister, he contributed to that. In fact, most parliamentarians, they go to my office after the budget, and they said, even after the July thing that we got from Ministry of Finance, they said he has already been with us, and they used to call him the negotiator quietly. Before Minister of Finance is a negotiator. He came here, we had difficulties in passing the budget. And people presented stories talking about how budgets are not given on time, difficulties are coming, and we agreed. And he accepted, but he negotiated with us. When there are problems in Parliament in terms of finances, he will come and negotiate. A man with humility, a man who believes that talking to people, listen to them, and get a united result and cooperation is the best way to administer as a minister or any office you hold. So we urge you, you see the policy what is happening in the United Kingdom and America today. The GDP, there is a growth in the GDP. A few months down the line, there are high inflation. But today, October, November, there is a growth in GDP of 0.1% because of good policy, Mr. Minister. America is seeing the downward trend in inflation, 6.5%, because of good policies. So, as I said earlier, I refer to the QAP and introduce the MUNAFA. You are part of that process. So, believe in good policies. Believe your policies are good, you enjoy as a minister. As a cue for my colleague on the other side, it's very difficult at this time thinking about the economy. The difficulty we have with the two currencies we are using, and the system, the global trend we are having. in the budgetary explanatory notes you people gave, you talk about the global effect. And if the global effects are putting us down, let us just look out for the internal effect that we use to can use to turn our economy. You refer to about taxation, looking at the taxation. How did you prioritize taxation? And that was very clear in your statement. So there are countries, few months, and still there are countries who are fighting. You have countries that are talking about stagflation. We are still talking about inflation. And I believe stagflation as an economics, that's the most difficult point you are talking about when our economy is really messy up. So we are talking about high rate of inflation. We have not been described yet as what. But we are in best picture to tell us. And somebody is telling me, or the undertold, that Lebanon is suffering from stagflation. So we don't want to go that line. But I believe with your policies, I'm training on the policy because only the policy can change the trajectory, Mr. Speaker. It's only by good policies. It's not by what you say. If you are saying, oh, to praise, it's not by praises. When you turn things around, you will get the job well done with your policy. It's also about cooperation. So with other nominees, I'll give you a whole lot of explanatory note about it in the presentation. But we have challenges. That's why yesterday, if you want to have a very good road output, you want to link the rural connectivity with other agricultural areas, you also have to look at the road network, which we did explain in the committee. And I said, Mr. Minister, propose Minister of Finance, sit down, listen. We want to see how best we can continue the marriage and put a high level of collaboration between the Ministry of Finance with that of the Ministry of Works vis-a-vis CUM SARE. If all of these entities are put together with a very good working platform, in a very good working space, we can have a job done at the end of the day. But if we cannot work together, we cannot achieve anything. So working with the Ministry of Finance, CUM SARE, in terms of disbursement of funds, timely disbursement of funds. Funds are very essential for the work of the connectivity from the rural sector to that of the agricultural productive areas, so that we can see how best we can feed our people. All we gear towards nation building. Peace cohesion is good for us. And we said we don't need to be shy away from what is affecting us. The commissioner said, the proposed commissioner said, our divisive nature, especially in terms of politics, is going too far to divide us. We believe as Sierra Leoneans, our similarities are far greater than our differences. So let us believe on the things that brings us together. Politics is just for a moment, and we live as Sierra Leoneans for a very long time, as we are doing now. And as I said once in this house, it's only where you have a mixture, conglomerate of representation, different political parties. If we put Sierra Leone first, this parliament can be a very good parliament. And indeed, we are a very good parliament. We have passed progressive laws. We have hung parliaments. We have passed progressive laws. That's the reason we are very proud to be parliamentarians. And that's the reason we challenge, Mr. Minister. Let me tell you one thing. When we are talking about our welfare, Honorable colleagues, I want you to listen. One country, one people, Osai. Why? One for you. You see me? Mr. Speaker, the reason why we have pronounced our different mottos and slogans, I want members to understand. We are very proud. Today I stand tall in this chamber. When we ask for us for being members, when we have government, this parliament is a very transparent parliament. You rate us. We have passed progressive laws here. This is a parliament that seeks to support women in politics. This is a parliament we are talking about abolition of death penalty. This is a parliament we are talking about making freedom of expression is not a crime. Creating a platform for the members of the Fourth Estate. And this is a parliament that we are asking you, Mr. Speaker, that Mr. Minister Toby, we always ask for our remuneration, for our welfare, for members of this country, or members of parliament to understand what we are asking that members need to be upgraded. We ask, people are very unfair to us. When we ask for our remuneration, when we ask for our welfare, people will go all around the country lambasting us. But they come to parliament to ask for favors, things that are beyond our responsibilities. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, we are doing our best. We are satisfied our conscience and God. We are always on our oath. Mr. Minister Toby, we will very soon discuss our welfare. It's not a hidden secret. Our lives must be better. Change the life of this parliament, to transform this life of parliament, like we have done in progressive laws. Mr. Minister, be ready. Very soon we'll table our welfare bill. Our welfare bill will be discussed in this chamber. I am sending notice to the public. What is good for the goose is good for the gander. We are going down the road now. We can praise you, but we cannot forget ourselves. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, first law of nature is self, and we have delivered. Nobody needs to praise us. Go to the archives and check for us what you have done for this nation as members of parliament. What you have done for us to change the narrative, irrespective of political lines. But we are doing it in the interest of Sierra Leone, honoring the unity, freedom, and justice. And in a phenomenon which APC will not like. Will not like. It's the only human living, the only one living among the human. The only one living among the human. You may not like it, but it's a slogan that you need to accept. One country, one people. In the interest of strict Sierra Leonean context. In the interest of strict Sierra Leonean context. That Sierra Leoneans, we don't love ourselves. There are differences. For us in this house, we have our differences. But what brings us together, what matters us to us, and that is Sierra Leone. So with that said, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the nominees are very powerful nominees. They are good. So I'm very proud. We did our best presented them to members here. All of us, we are giving good praises to them. But they had a final finishing line. Go and work as he pleases the president. He has the executive powers. You don't need to honor the president. When you are hired, you can be fired. That's the executive powers of the president. So we celebrate all those who are served and they are fired them. We give them kudos for what you have done for this nation. You are about to join us. We are here, we cannot be fired. We are going together with the president. Yes. That is why we have our connectivity to the presidency. It's like the tapu system. We are deep down. We are all given the 5 years. So as I join you, so then I can work from this table, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, freedom to my office. I will not think I'm going to be fired. For you, I can even approve you. As you are going down to for you to take the oath, you can be fired. As he pleases the president. Section 60 of the Constitution. The executive power. But let me say this. Mr. Speaker, I should be giving your final word to them. It's good for her people to serve, but it's also good for you to deliver. If you are a deputy, work as a deputy. And enjoy the deputy director of SRE. And the director of SRE is a good combination with institutional memory. So we have for Fantamadi. These people, if you have institutional memory, with commitment, with trust and purpose, sincerity of the service delivery, you can succeed. You don't need to fight in the office. Believe in good policies. That's the only way we can change this nation. When we came to governance, we can judge us very soon. It's not about words. So it's not about your CV. It's not about resume. It's how you deliver, how you have done. I borrowed the words from my honorable colleague on the other side. Though he did say the new direction is the wrong direction. But the new direction is the opposing direction in the right place. But that's the only way you went wrong. But all right, you said it well. And you give them your advice. They need to listen. When you go to your office, MPs do go to your offices. Some people reject our MPs. Some, we don't look at them because we have immense power to bring them to parliament and see what we can do. But we are so magnanimous enough, Mr. Speaker, to accommodate all shades of people in life. We approve them, but we have our oversight. We can do our oversight. Fortunately, there's no one who second the motion. It's the chairman of the works committee. We are looking best to him so that he can deliver more on his oversight for road construction. Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much for presiding over us. There is nothing much you can say, but we enjoy your linguist way of talking to us from the Cambridge. So we do accept the way you preside over us, Mr. Speaker. We can always appreciate you for what you are doing for members of parliament. With your zest and with your courage, we are very difficult MPs to handle. But we have managed to handle us thinking about your age. Some of us, we are so difficult to handle because we are coming from a very strong point of view in terms of policies. Our political differences cannot divide us. We stand here today to talk to the nominees, go and deliver, irrespective of political parties. Believe you are professionals, believe in your professionalism, and deliver for the good of this nation. Thank you, President Bio, for believing in people and bringing people to the fore. Thank you all very much. Bless us. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I wanted to rest and listen to your sweet voice. And with that, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I therefore move that the 8th report of the 5th session of the Committee on Appointment, this honorable House, please, with all what you have said, to ratify this wonderful nominees. I thank you. I salute you.
I thank the leader of government business and all members who have taken the floor on this important matter. Honorable members, the question is that the 7th report of the 5th session of the Committee on Appointments and the Public Service be adopted by the House and that the recommendations contained therein be approved. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it.
By Honorable Martin Esquima has been approved.
Let me be the last speaker on this matter today. And I will start with a very simple quotation. Nothing succeeds like success. Nothing succeeds in life like success itself. The nominees that the House has just approved have succeeded in their individual vocations, in their individual jobs previously. And that has earned them the recognition and respect and the accolade for them to now be elevated to higher heights. On behalf of the House, we say to all of them, a hearty congratulations. And to all of you, I say thank you for endorsing unanimously the confidence reposed in the nominees by His Excellency the President. We have no doubt, judging by the performance we saw here of the former Deputy Minister of Finance when he piloted the 2023 appropriation bill through the processes in this House, that he has indeed carved for himself, humble as he is, a niche in this government, and indeed a place in the history of our country. We wish him well, and we have no doubt that you will continue to excel in your new position as the substantive Minister of Finance of the Republic of Sierra Leone. On behalf of the House once more, we say to you all, congratulations, well done, and wish you well. Thank you. Please remain seated whilst we adjourn. Is there any announcement?
Announcement. Honorable members are hereby informed that there will be a pre-legislative hearing on Monday, the 16th of January 2023 at Committee Room 1, Parliament Building at 10 a.m. on the following bills. 1. The Work Permit Act 2023. 2.
the Employment Act 2023, and 3, Overseas Employment and Migrant Workers Act 2023. Signed, Honorable Matthew S. Nura, Leader of Government Business.
Honorable members, with that, Mr. Speaker. No. Mr. Speaker. No.
You see, there are times giving to people. You are not going to pray. You are going down your office. Mr. Speaker, it's not honorable. There's something there. I did not hear that there. Where is that? Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's not easy to get this title. You see, this guy is very difficult to get that title. So, justice of peace.
Ordinary justice of peace. Ordinary Jacob.
He's not yeah, we can lock him up, you don't even know.
An ordinary Jacob.
He can even know. Two of 2 JP, I can match his brother. No, my JP. We can sentence this man.
We can sentence them.
Yes, so not ordinary. So pronounce it of some people. Mr. Speaker, I know we can talk to you, we can understand. We are MPs and you are the leader of government business. So can we hear the word JP again? JP.
Signed, Honorable Matthew S. Nura, JP.
With that, the House stands adjourned to Tuesday, the 17th of January at 10 a.m. prompt.